Alright guys, well, happy Homebrew Wednesday, and if you're still with me, thanks for not abandoning me. I'm still here, just been busy and enjoying not having to worry about making any videos. Just kind of enjoying some time, actually, with myself, with the family, and yeah, like I said, we went on a trip to Austria. You know, you saw all that in the previous videos. If you like that, if you don't, then you've probably ignored it, and that's totally fine. It's totally up to you. This week, though, it's a bit of an update to kind of show you what I've been doing homebrew-wise for, well, the last several weeks. Let's go ahead and kick off with the first beer of the year, the first brew that I did this year. I did do a Dropkick Nate. It had been a couple of years since I did it. And so I went ahead and did one up again. Turned out really nice. I did do a little bit of experimentation with the water on this one, because I wanted to get a little bit more aggressive of a bite on this one. So I took it up to, for the calcium levels, you know, calcium most important for a lot of different reasons. So I brought that up around higher than 80. I brought it up to about 90 is where it ended up being. For the calcium sulfate and the calcium chloride, the sulfate to chloride ratio on this one, I went to 4.5, and the sulfate level was at 250, or no, sorry, right around 225, and the chloride was right around 50. So I went ahead and brewed that up, added those salt additions, and well, this is the result. It's a nice pale ale. It's been sitting around. I brewed this up in the beginning of January, and it's tasting pretty nice. It's a very nice, solid pale ale, and Nate definitely deserves all the compliments that he gets for this beer, because it's a really nice, solid pale ale. Cheers. Really get that nice tropical essence, like sort of candy tropical essence from a combination of the Galaxy and Eldorado. It's a beautiful pale ale. I think it's a little bit dry, so in terms of the water profile, it's not minerally, but the sulfate does definitely bring that dryness right at the end of the palate. Now, if you like that, and you like that dryness on the back of your tongue after you have a pale ale or an IPA, then I would highly recommend that type of water profile. I think I might go a little bit softer though next time. For a sulfate and chloride ratio, I'll probably go closer to a 3-to-1, maybe even a 2.5-to-1 for the sulfate to chloride, and dial that down probably to about 150 of the sulfate, and the chloride a little bit lower than, you know, the 50. So that's it. I like the dryness, but I don't want it as dry. I want it just a little bit less. Very nice, smooth, easy drinking. Yeah, got a nice bite to it. The next one, this one, the Helles. This is the Munich Helles. It's only been in the keg for about a week, just over a week. It hasn't really clarified yet, you know. It's going to take a couple weeks probably. I did add a little bit of gelatin, so I expect it by the next weekend it'll be pretty well crystal clear. Took this to the it was a homebrew event last night at the Dropkick Nate. Local place, not too far, about a 10-minute drive from where I live, and had a bunch of homebrewers and shared their beers, and basically there was also an official competition there as well. They did a bottle competition, and they had 3 winners from that. I think there was 2 or 3 winners from the public favorites as well. I didn't win, but I had a really good time there. I actually met a couple brewers that I had met in the past. One that I brewed with John Palmer way back when we did the Norwegian farmhouse ale at Eikentid here in Oslo, Norway. And also another one that I had helped test his water before. And we met up downtown. He gave me a couple of beers and a water sample. And then I gave him the water results from the tests. So that was really cool to meet up with those guys again. And I got to meet a couple other homebrewers as well. So that was really cool. Hopefully we'll be able to get together in the near future and do something together. But the Helles, so I'm getting away from the Helles. This one turned out just like I remember from last summer. I brewed it for a friend of ours locally. It was his 12th wedding anniversary. So we brewed that up. It was a surprise for his wife, and they really enjoyed it, and I'm enjoying it now. Cheers. Really like it. It's got a nice bready graininess to it, and with just a little bit of sweetness on the back end. Leaves your mouth just, it's got that nice meadowy sort of flavor to it. It's like a combination of floral or grassy and just a little bit of herbal. It's that you know, well-known noble hop character. This one I used Hallertau Mittelfrühe, and yeah, it came out really nice. I'm enjoying this one. This one's going to be very nice Easter beer. These two other ones, these cloudy ones, these murky bastards. Well, these are my latest and greatest creation. I did a NEPA. Let me see. Let me go ahead and show you the recipe on this one real quick. Alright, so did this NEPA up on March 2nd. See, I used Golden Promise, some flaked barley, some spelt malt, and also some Carahel. Here's the percentages over here. At the 15-minute mark, 15 minutes before the end of the boil, I used Apollo for bittering. And then I also put in the Werflock and the yeast nutrient shortly thereafter. Then I went ahead and steeped in some Citra for 30 minutes, as well as some Amarillo. There's the amounts right there. 170 grams of the Citra, 56 grams of the Amarillo. For the targets, I was way off on my gravities for the OG, but you know, I wasn't really shooting for anything specific. I was yeah, a little less than normally focused that day. So on day 4, I went ahead and dry hopped with Southern Passion and Galaxy. Here we go, about 80 grams of the Galaxy and 125 grams of the Passion, Southern Passion. And I went ahead and did about half of each of those in the filter meshes that I can go ahead and put into the kegs. So that's what's in there now. Final gravities ended up about 1.013 on both of them. Very similar. What was interesting though was that even though the citrusy one, the Sac Trois, tastes more acidic, it's actually the one with the Conan yeast that's more acidic. So I thought that was interesting, the overall acidic notes. Alright, so that's about it. That's my NEPA in a nutshell. Alright, so that's the recipe. It was really cool. Nice to be able to experiment with these. What I really like about this was that those Southern Passion hops, fuck you InBev, you can't get those anymore, but still really do give you a very similar characteristic to what Citra brings to the table. So that was very nice. I really like that hop. I have a little bit left, so I'm kind of saving it. What was really key about this one is that this one here, I used the Imperial yeast, the citrus yeast. This is basically the equivalent of the Sac Trois, the WLP 644. So this one worked out really nice. What was interesting was after fermentation, I tested them, did a gravity sample. You know, I was expecting them to get down to about 10, 11. They were at 10, 13. I tasted them. I really enjoyed them. I didn't think it needed to go any lower or be any drier, so I went ahead and moved them here into the brewery, which at this time of year is around, what is it now? About 10 degrees Celsius. So a little chilly. So it's lager temperatures basically. So I had it here for 24 hours. I came back in the next day and I was planning to keg them up, but I saw that both that one and the one with the Conan yeast was still fermenting. They were still basically bubbling through the airlock. So I went ahead and just left them in here for another 24 hours. Came in, checked the gravities. The gravities were relatively the same. I couldn't really see the difference, even though there was that indication through the airlock. But I went ahead and racked them off and put them into kegs anyways. And this is what I got. They've only been in there for a few days. I think I put them in Wednesday night. And so I put them on CO2. They've been carboned up. And they've been doing pretty good. I think for some reason the Conan one is a little bit more carbonated. Very similar in color. Let me go ahead and show you these a little bit closer. Spilled it. That's okay. So, a little bit difference in color. Not so much. But they do have a different taste profile. So if I go with the citrusy one for the Sactois, totally get that juiciness to it, but it's more of the it's like pineapple with some citrus and some peach. It's pretty nice. It's got, I think it's more of an acidic bitterness than an actual hot bitterness to it. But again, the hoppy bitterness could be coming in. I've got you know, a few ounces of hops in the keg in a strainer along with the beers, so there's that to think about. So that's affecting the acidity somewhat. For the one fermented with the Conan yeast strain, smoother, definitely more citrusy. This one is closer to like an orange juice than the other one. It's not as acidic either. It's very smooth and pleasant. It's got just enough bitterness to, you know, just wake your taste buds up. But yeah, it's got that nice juiciness to it. I don't know if I could sit there and drink these all night long. I think I might get palate fatigue after a little while. But they are what they are. And I think they're right on target. So I'm pretty happy with that. I got a few people coming over next weekend. We're going to brew a Vienna Lager. And then we're going to go ahead and drink up some of this stuff, as well as probably finish up the DKN and try and work off some of the Helles. Cheers. Got to reset the palate. So yeah, that said, next weekend I'll be doing up a Vienna Lager. I don't think I'm going to be doing any videoing for that one, since I will have some people over. I've been thinking about doing a live stream. So I know live streaming these days are becoming more and more popular, and why not do a live stream? If the people that are going to be here don't mind, then, you know, I can set up a couple extra cameras and then go ahead and do a live stream and put up a chat window so that we can all sort of interact together and have basically a group brew day. How do you feel about that? How does that resonate with you? You you know, go ahead and let me know down in the comments, and you know, if that's something that's cool, then I'll go ahead and do that. That's going to be next Saturday, so I believe that's going to be the 24th. Yeah. So let's see, what else? New things that are going on here in the brewery. I did get a couple new pieces of equipment, well, 1 times 2. So I upgraded to the Riptide upgrade for my March pump. So I went ahead and ordered that online from Blickman directly, because they don't have the conversion kits here yet anywhere that I know of here in Norway. So yeah, $100 each. It's not cheap, but the coolest thing about them is the release valve. I think that's so cool. One of the things that I've always been wanting to get is, because when I open up my valves, I'm generally sitting there pumping on the silicone hoses trying to get the liquid to come down out of the kettle. But now all I got to do is pull the little airlock valve on the side of the Riptide pumps. That opens up a airway, and then the beer or the wort just comes pouring down, and I don't have to worry about priming the pump anymore. That will do it basically for me. So that's an extremely cool feature that for me is well worth the investment. So here we go. We've got the new upgrades, the Riptide face pumps going on, and really digging on this release valve here. When I've got wort coming in from the bottom, filling up from the top, and then coming out, usually there's like an airlock there that's preventing the wort from coming down into the pump. So when I go ahead and open up this valve, basically it lets the air out, and then the wort can finally flow down and fill this thing up. So that's working out really, really good. And I've got it for both the wort pump as well as for the water pump. So that's working fantastic. So yeah, that's a pretty cool addition to the brewery. And not only that, but the efficiency of the pump itself, the rotor inside, actually I do see an increase in the flow rate coming out both the HLT and when I'm pumping it through out of the mash tun or into the boil kettle. Also for the whirlpool. So, you know, that's really, really cool. I'm really happy with that upgrade. You guys know I don't like to upgrade that often. I mean, I built this system so that I didn't have to do the continuous version of upgrading that that other people do. So yeah, I only upgrade certain things very, very rarely, and that's one of the things that I thought was probably one of the bigger benefits. And they're stainless heads, so that's really cool too, to get away from the plastic that I used before. So that's very nice. That's basically the only upgrades that I got going on in the brew house. One thing I also want to do was give a shout out to the store in Strømmen. It used to be called the Bryggeland store, for the home brewer store here in the local one here in Strømmen. It used to be called, way back in the day, I think it was Earl of Wien, and then they changed the locations, and then they went into business together with another company. They did like a merger and changed the name to Bryggeland, and things didn't really work out, and so now they've sort of bought themselves back out of that deal and starting fresh and anew again. So that store used to be really unreliable. The online inventory system was absolutely terrible. It would tell you something was in stock. You go there and, you know, they would have nothing like that there. So it was really bad. But now all the shelves are fully stocked. They've changed the name. The name nowadays is called Strømmen Hjemmebrygg. Basically Strømmen Home Brewery, or a home brewer shop. So that's really cool. They just got in stock Omega Yeast Labs. So this is the only store in Norway where you can get Omega yeast, which is really cool. Not only do they have some of the best brands, including like the Conan yeast strain from the Dippa Ale, but they've also got all of the sour and the funky stuff. So that's really cool. I'm probably going to get more and more into that as the year progresses this year. And really looking forward to trying more of the Omega Yeast Lab stuff. They also bought in, that's also where I got the Imperial yeast is. So that's the only fresh yeast that they have. And of course they offer all the soft lager stuff or safe ale stuff. All the dry ale yeast, Mangrove Jack and stuff like that. Great folks. And say hi to Andrew when you're there. He's most likely the Scottish guy wearing the kilt. Hi Andrew. That's about all that's going on in my neck of the woods, guys. I've kept you long enough. I hope you guys are having a hell of a week. Shoot you off with a DKN and have a hell of a week. Have a better weekend. Cheers.